так кожну неділю.
We suffer from Russian shelling every week. A shell can hit this house, then those houses. There are practically no windows at any house.
The high-rise buildings of Vovchansk are empty. Many locals moved out long ago. People say it is impossible to live here now. Russian troops shell the city several times a day.
В місті постійно лунають обстріли.
The city is constantly under fire from the Russian Federation. We know that there is the border 3 or 4 kilometers from us. That is why there can be shelling at any time. They attack us with missiles at 6 in the morning, or at 12 in the afternoon, or at night. Time of shelling is unpredictable.
Ludmila is one of those who stayed in this area longer than others. On January the 6th, during Russian shelling, a missile hit her flat.
Балкон, второй этаж, гляньте, второй этаж. Кухня.
My flat is on the second floor. Look, a balcony is damaged. Kitchen is completely destroyed. The walls were pierced by a mine there. Vovchansk was under Russian occupation for 6 months, since February the 24th. On September the 11th, the Ukrainian flag was raised over the city. People welcomed the armed forces of Ukraine with great joy.
Люди почали кричати,
People started shouting, chanting, singing the anthem, and raising the flag. It was very nice that the people were waiting for us, and we finally came. Everything will be Ukraine.
After the deoccupation, the Russian army began to brutally shell the city. Missile attacks take place in civilian neighborhoods and infrastructure. In addition to mines and shells, the residents of the city have another threat, the cold. Russian occupation forces are hitting power grids. Today, electricity is the only thing that keeps people warm. Unfortunately, the light is also not constant, but our engineers are constantly repairing all damages. We have lights whenever possible. Those who live in such high-rise buildings are very cold. The temperature there is maybe 5 degrees above zero at most, and electric heaters are sorely lacking. They are very necessary because there is nothing to warm ourselves up with. People are saved by warm clothes and pot-belly stoves. However, getting firewood is very difficult for them. There are forests around Vovchansk, but the Russian invaders mined them when they were leaving. Volunteers bring firewood and humanitarian aid here. There was a bullet wound here. There was another one in the chest, you see. There is also glass left here. Here, in the department of surgery of the Vovchansk hospital, there are mainly patients with mine explosive and shrapnel wounds. The doctor Tatiana shows the fragments and bullets that were removed during the operation. The medical staff keeps them as evidence of Russian shelling. In general, we operated in the 3rd operating room. I'm here now because it's safer. This is one of the rooms, but each one is ready. We had situations that not 1, not 2, or even 3 people were wounded at the same time. We worked quickly in one operating room and then ran to another one. It happens that you have to run 5 times between operating rooms. Tatiana is a surgeon. She lives in Kharkiv. Before the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, she came to her parents in Vovchansk. But later, she could not leave. The city fell under occupation. The worst thing is that it was necessary to treat the armed Russian occupiers. That was probably the scariest thing.
I asked one of the Russians this question. Why are you killing us? What do you want from us? We didn't attack you. They didn't threaten anything. His answer was very simple. We want to kill all the Nazis. So, you wrote on the billboard that we are your brothers. You decide, are we Nazis or brothers? He replied, I don't dig that deep. I'm military. We are ordered to kill you all.
Viktor Chernysh, the head of the department, a talented surgeon with many years of experience, was fired from the hospital by the Russian invaders. He refused to apply for a job in a Russian medical institution. The doctor recalls that the Russian military shot civilians with entire families. At the beginning of the occupation, 5 people were brought to the intensive care unit at once.
There were 2 men and 3 women. Of these women, one was a 16-year-old girl. They were all fired upon by Russian soldiers. They were driving past a tank, and the child had a bullet wound to the head. All had bullet wounds. We operated on them. Nobody died. The child was operated on by our Kharkiv neurosurgeon. He lives with us in the Vovchansk district.
Тут пошкодження ось. Ось дуже видно і наявно
Here is the damage, right here, very visible, clearly shrapnel damage. This is where it hit the wall.
After the deoccupation, Russian troops repeatedly shelled the hospital. Medics say that they are hitting the hospital intentionally.
Закриті скрізь вікна мішками.
Everywhere the windows were closed with bags because on the 2nd of January we had shelling. The arrival was 10 meters from the premises. One patient was here. When the shelling started, we took him to a safe place where we have 2 walls. That is, when the shelling begins, we take all the patients to the corridor.
Alexander was wounded in mid-December on his way from work in the morning.
I reached the pension center at just that time. Exactly at 8 o'clock, they began to bomb us.
Previously, more than 300 people worked in the local hospital. Now there are less than a half. Many left because of the Russian shelling and cold. The rest of the medical staff says they are coping with it. Volunteers help with medical care. The other day they brought a lung ventilation apparatus, oxygen concentrators and a medical compressor.
Отримали запит.
We received a request. We realized that this is a necessary thing, that we have the opportunity to purchase, bring, install and adjust it. We have a medical technician with us.
Now Vovchansk looks half empty. About 4,000 people remain here. Before the full-scale invasion, about 17,000 people lived in the city. Those who remained are sure that they need to be patient. Ukraine will win soon and life in the city will improve. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Nadia Sukhorokova, Андрій Домовий, UATV News.